Hey there, amazing friends. I warmly invite you to join me on this exciting journey by subscribing to my channel, liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. Every like, comment, and share brings us closer together and fuels my passion to create more great content. Your support truly makes all the difference. Thank you for being the heart of this community. Shadows of the past, chilling accounts of the world's long-forgotten atrocities and their ghostly echoes. Deep within the recesses of time, where history's pages have been worn thin by the relentless march of years, lie secrets so grim and sorrowful that they seem almost too terrible to believe. Across continents and epochs, unspeakable atrocities have been committed, acts of cruelty and despair that modern society has all but forgotten. Yet their echoes persist in the crumbling ruins of ancient battlegrounds, in the faded scars of abandoned monuments, and in the whispered legends of those who still dare to remember. This is a journey into the shadows of the past, a narrative that unearths chilling accounts of long-forgotten horrors and examines the ghostly traces they have left behind, traces that continue to haunt our collective memory. Our story begins in the desolate ruins of a once thriving empire, buried beneath layers of shifting sands in a remote desert. Archaeologists in the early 20th century uncovered a vast necropolis on the outskirts of what local lore referred to as the City of the Sun. Here, amidst broken pillars and shattered tablets, were inscribed the grim details of a massacre perpetrated by a tyrant whose thirst for power was matched only by his cruelty. Ancient texts recounted how, in a single night, tens of thousands of citizens were ordered to march into a narrow canyon and were systematically executed to quell dissent. The carvings on the stones depicted anguished faces and contorted bodies, frozen in eternal torment. Even more haunting were the symbols of divine retribution, a series of glyphs that some interpret as the gods' bitter judgment upon a people who had forsaken morality in the pursuit of power. Though the empire crumbled and its name was lost to history, the atrocities committed there cast a long, unyielding shadow. Local nomads speak of ghostly figures that wander the desert at dusk, their mournful cries carried on the wind, as if the souls of the fallen are doomed to relive their final moments for eternity. Traveling eastward, we encounter another dark chapter in history, a medieval village shrouded by dense, mist-laden forests in the heart of Europe. In this forgotten hamlet, an unspeakable act of vengeance unfolded during a brutal feud between rival families. Chroniclers of the time, in terse and often brutal language, recorded that a respected local lord, driven by jealousy and unquenchable wrath, ordered the complete annihilation of an entire village. Families were slaughtered, women and children locked in cellars until starvation claimed them, and survivors were forced to witness the relentless horrors as a twisted display of power. Over time, the memory of this atrocity was suppressed by official records, and the village was deliberately erased from maps. Yet villagers from neighboring areas continued to share the story in hushed voices around flickering hearths. They spoke of a cursed woodland where on moonless nights, the tormented wails of the lost would rise like a dirge, echoing through the trees as a perpetual lament for lives stolen in an instant of cruelty. In a later age, the dark legacy of human violence spread to the era of colonial expansion, a time when empires stretched their dominion across continents, often at an unspeakable cost to native populations. In the dense, impenetrable jungles of a distant land, explorers documented atrocities committed by merciless conquerors. Villages were razed, and entire tribes were decimated under orders that regarded human life as expendable. The survivors, desperate and broken, carried with them not only scars of physical suffering, but also a deep spiritual wound. Oral traditions in these regions tell of spectral apparitions, phantoms of warriors and mournful mothers who appear at the edge of ancient battlefields, their eyes filled with unspoken sorrow. their voices a sorrowful symphony that warns of the cyclical nature of human cruelty. These legends, passed down from generation to generation, are accompanied by tangible remnants: rusty weapons half buried in the jungle floor, broken idols shattered by the relentless passage of time, and faded murals on crumbling stone walls that hint at rituals performed to appease angry spirits. The ghostly echoes of these colonial atrocities serve as a chilling reminder that even the most powerful empires eventually fall, leaving behind only whispers of their merciless deeds. Fast forward to more recent history, and we encounter modern unsolved mysteries that have captivated the public imagination. In the industrial heartlands of a once booming metropolis, a series of disappearances in the 1970s continues to baffle detectives and terrorize the collective memory of the city. Over a span of several months, scores of workers, artists, and ordinary citizens vanished without a trace, leaving behind empty homes, abandoned workplaces, and cryptic messages scrawled on walls in desperate, fading handprints. Rumors swirled that these disappearances were not the result of random misfortune, but rather the sinister machinations of a covert organization bent on erasing dissent and silencing voices that threatened to expose dark governmental secrets. The authorities were never able to close the case, and the unresolved mystery remains a topic of fervent debate among conspiracy theorists. Some claim that the souls of the missing continue to haunt the abandoned factories and derelict apartment blocks, their spectral presence marked by the sudden flicker of lights and the disembodied sound of footsteps in empty corridors. Their voices, some say, are heard in the soft hum of a broken intercom or the distant rumble of an industrial machine that seems to operate on its own accord, a modern echo of past atrocities, a reminder that the cost of unchecked power is measured not only in lives lost, but in the enduring scars of society. Amid these disparate threads of historical horror, one unifying theme emerges: the profound impact that unspeakable human actions can have on the collective psyche. The atrocities of ancient empires, the brutal feuds of medieval times, the savage conquests of colonial powers, and the modern mysteries of disappearances all share one common element: they leave behind a residue of sorrow and despair that can linger long after the perpetrators have vanished. It is as if the very fabric of time bears the weight of these events, and the ghostly echoes of the past seep into the present, challenging our understanding of history and the nature of human existence. Archaeologists, historians, and paranormal investigators have long tried to piece together these fragments of forgotten horrors, driven by a need to understand how such events could occur and what lessons might be gleaned from them. In dusty archives and in the silent ruins of once grand structures, they uncover clues: a shattered vase here, a faded mural there, that hint at the larger tapestry of human suffering and resilience. Each artifact, each inscription, is a testament to lives once lived, dreams once cherished, and atrocities that were committed in the shadows of power. Yet for every piece of evidence uncovered, more questions arise. Who were these people? What drove rulers to commit such acts? And perhaps most haunting of all, can the spirits of the past ever be appeased, or are they doomed to haunt the corridors of history, a perpetual reminder of our darkest impulses? Some researchers have turned to the study of collective memory and the psychology of trauma to explain why these ghostly echoes persist. They suggest that the human mind, when confronted with extreme horror, often externalizes the pain into symbols and legends, stories that serve both as a warning and as a catharsis. The spectral apparitions seen in abandoned battlefields, the mournful cries heard in deserted villages, and the inexplicable flickering of lights in modern urban decay may all be manifestations of a collective grief that refuses to be forgotten. In this view, the ghosts of the past are not merely remnants of history. They are living, breathing testaments to the fact that human cruelty leaves scars that time itself cannot erase. In recent years, technological advances have allowed investigators to revisit these sites of forgotten atrocities with fresh eyes. High-resolution imaging, thermal mapping, and even ground-penetrating radar have revealed hidden structures and secret passageways within ancient ruins, suggesting that some empires may have gone to extraordinary lengths to conceal their dark legacies. In one astonishing discovery, a team of researchers uncovered an underground chamber beneath the ruins of a crumbling fortress in Eastern Europe. The chamber was filled with symbols and inscriptions that, when deciphered, told a story of betrayal, sacrifice, and retribution, an account so chilling that it raised questions about whether the atrocities committed in the fortress were sanctioned by a higher, perhaps even divine power. These findings have sparked a renewed interest in the idea that history is not merely a record of events, but a living narrative, a tapestry woven from the threads of both glory and horror, of triumph and tragedy. For the modern listener, the stories of long-forgotten atrocities and their ghostly echoes serve as both a reminder and a warning. They remind us that while civilizations may rise and fall, the impact of human actions lingers on, etched into the very stones of our past. And they warn us that the allure of power, when unchecked by morality, can lead to unspeakable acts that reverberate through the ages. As you listen to this narrative, let your imagination wander to the desolate battlefields of ancient empires, to the silent corridors of ruined palaces, and to the haunted remnants of modern mysteries. Picture the anguished faces of those who suffered, the cold, unyielding gaze of statues carved in sorrow, and the eerie, unexplainable sounds that still echo in empty halls long after the people have vanished. Perhaps in these echoes, we can find lessons that are as timeless as they are urgent, a call to confront the darkest parts of our history, to acknowledge the pain that lingers in the shadows, and to strive for a future where the ghosts of the past are neither forgotten nor allowed to repeat their tragedies. The mystery of our long-forgotten atrocities is not merely an academic puzzle, it is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a challenge to our collective conscience. It asks us, can we learn from the horrors of our history, or are we doomed to be haunted by the shadows of our own making? In the end, shadows of the past, chilling accounts of the world's long-forgotten atrocities and their ghostly echoes, is more than a chronicle of unsolved mysteries. It is an invitation to look deeply into the heart of darkness and to listen to the silent voices of those who have been lost. It is a story that blurs the boundaries between fact and legend, between history and myth, urging us to remember that every ruined monument, every faded inscription carries with it the weight of human experience. And perhaps by confronting these ghostly echoes, we can begin to understand that the past is not dead, it is merely waiting in the shadows, a quiet reminder of all that we must never allow to be forgotten. So, as you settle into the comforting darkness of your own space, let these words transport you to ancient battlefields, abandoned fortresses, and the forgotten corners of human civilization. Listen closely, for in the rustle of the wind through shattered stone and the faint, mournful echoes that linger in silent ruins, there is a story, a tale of both unspeakable horror and enduring hope. It is a story that challenges us to remember, to learn, and to honor the voices of the past, so that their shadows may guide us toward a future illuminated by truth rather than haunted by regret.